right, if we look a little bit closer to home when it comes to news, one of the big headlines of this week, and we're only Tuesday, has been the change in freehold rules for space on Sheikh Zayed Road and in Al Jadaf. Property owners being able to change their assets, be they plots, buildings, from leasehold to freehold. To have a look at what it actually means for property values, we have Declan King. He's the senior partner and group head of real estate at ValuStrat. They are the people who figure out how much stuff is actually worth, not necessarily what it sells for, but what it is worth. Declan, it's lovely to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Brandy. Great to be with you.
So what do you think this is going to do for values in those two corridors?
Well, it's a really progressive move, and fundamentally it helps to further open up our market to all nationalities so that everybody can buy real estate in more areas. That's a positive for valuations generally, and it's a good thing for the real estate market.
Okay. We had Andy Love from Knight Franken here yesterday. He reckons that land values in some of those areas could as much as triple. What do you think?
I don't have an opinion on that. We'll need to run the numbers because there is a 30% tax to be paid by the plot owner when they want to convert the title deed to freehold status. But it will be positive. Obviously, the bigger the market for the property that you're selling, generally that's a good thing from a valuation point of view. I wouldn't put my name on a percentage, whether it would be 50%, 100%, or you've just quoted 300%, but it certainly is likely to be positive.
Any other knock-on effects we should be thinking about?
I think what it does is it's interesting that they've selected the two areas they've selected. Sheikh Zayed Road from the World Trade Center roundabout to the canal. That really is Main Street Dubai, isn't it? When you think of a postcard of Dubai, it's that skyline. It's the classic high-rise skyline that we now have the opportunity for nationalities from all over the world to invest in land, and that land will then become buildings. Al Jadaf had to think about that one, and I think that's because there's so much available land in Al Jadaf. There is a metro there, and let's not forget that it's the starting point for the new Blue Metro extension, as the extension of the metro goes from the current Creek station. So I think that's an area of land availability and one where this measure will further attract investors into the location.
Would you want to see it expanded?
Absolutely, and that's a huge question. So it's likely this will be the first step in similar moves. Will we ever have a city that has full openness for all nationalities to buy in every location? That could be where this eventually goes. I'm not sure if that will ever happen, and if it does, how many years that could take. But it will be interesting to see how progressively they expand this initiative.
Well, you guys have just crunched the numbers for capital values, and we're looking at the commercial state this morning for 2024. What did we see for offices happen in terms of the valuation of properties? Well,
a quick history lesson. We all know the market rallied from late 2020 with the villa prices that then expanded into prime apartments and then into commercial. And it really is not just a resi story, which I think is such an interesting story. The offices, particularly, what we've seen here must be the envy of so many other cities in the world where people are surrendering office blocks back to their lender because they've got vacant office space, they can't fund the mortgage repayments. Here in 2024, we saw office capital values and rental values rise between 22 and 25%. They're astounding numbers. They're actually not as high as 2023, but it really speaks to the strong economic fundamentals that we're all working in companies that are doing better. Our companies are needing more office space to house increasing numbers of employees.
And as you say, you compare that to what we're seeing globally. But it's also an occupation story, isn't it? That occupation rates are 80% plus. We've had some big launches in 2024. DMCC's got the phase 2 of the Uptown project, and now it's massive crypto tower. We've got Alda, big building in DIFC. Is enough being launched to ease the supply crunch?
Not at the moment. It seems to be that there is an imbalance between demand and supply. And I think certainly if we had a commercial real estate broker here, they probably would agree that any availability of grade A office space would be immediately absorbed. So we do need more grade A office space in the right locations, so quality CBD locations.
One of the other things we've got happening at the moment is a smart rental index. And we've had the officials tell us that that's going to be expanded into the commercial space
correct.
in Q1. which is going to take facilities management, build quality and all the rest of it, all the things that affect the value into account. What's that going to mean for the sector, especially B stock?
I think it could mean that if you are in a B stock and you're in a building that maybe is not as well presented as grade A stock nearby, you should technically benefit from having a lower rental threshold. So that could be positive to occupiers who rent grade B space. And obviously, if you're in a top-notch building, it could mean that the current rental cap will actually be raised. So you could be looking at a higher ceiling for your landlord to be allowed to go towards.
When are we going to see, or what's it going to take to get more office stock coming on to incentivise developers to build offices rather than apartments in order to ease the supply crunch a little?
I think the incentives are there. Obviously, in the last year, we saw Aldar announce their move into Dubai with the new tower to be built at DIFC on the Sheikh Zayed Road frontage. And you've mentioned DMCC with their further growth in the JLT area. So I think the incentives are there, but obviously pipeline, it takes some years to both design, plan and build commercial real estate space. So at the moment, I think the incentives absolutely are there, that you've got strong tenant demand for any space you can deliver.
Declan King is Senior Partner and Group Head of Real Estate at ValuStrat, joining us this morning to talk valuations and what that change to freehold could mean for property owners, but also their tenants on Sheikh Zayed Road and in Al Jadaf. Thank you for your time.